Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
That's strange. I've never been to England, but I know the M5 is a road? I watch a lot of Top Gear. So the pulling ashore line is a bit strange. And what is it he's looking for? Here's a nice little vantage point. Alright, some kind of wrecked ship. Seems to have lost a lot of cargo. Maybe this has something to do with the chemicals and the pollution. I'll explore it in a bit. I want to finish this trail. There's something out there flashing, probably a buoy. I can't tell if time is passing, if it's getting darker, or if it's staying the same.
An imagined answer phone message. The tires are flat, the wheel spins loosely, and the brake fluid has run like ink over this map, staining the landmarks and rendering the coastline mute. Compromised. Where you saw galaxies, I saw only bruises cut into the cliff by my lack of sobriety.
So, drunken beatings, perhaps? Where you saw galaxies, I only saw bruises. I'm not sure if he's talking about this island still. And I'm not sure how coastlines could be rendered mute. In my mind, a coastline rendered mute would be something that's very flat, very, like no little fiddly bits, as Slarty Bart Fast would call them. But there seem to be lots of little fiddly bits, so I'm not sure how the coastlines are rendered mute. Alright, so here's the shipwreck. Lots of cargo. Can't really tell anything by it. I can't jump or anything, so I don't know if I can actually even get into this ship. Nope, I can't figure out how to get onto this boat. This wreck seems like it's been there for a long time. What does that say?
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
Did he... I can't. There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. Am I supposed to look for the hole in the bottom of the boat? What does it say on the side of the boat? How do I get there? Ugh. I guess I'll... how get on boat? What's this? Crane thing. Don't know what to do. Should I leave the boat and keep exploring? I guess I'll try that because I don't really know what else to do. Maybe I'll try climbing up this. I say climbing, but I mean just kind of float. Although I think I can hear my own footsteps. Ugh, this is frustrating. Okay. Aha! A seat. It looks like an airplane seat. With, splatters that are hopefully not blood.
I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic. Your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
Not really sure what that means. But I think the theme from that and previous narrations is that this island was created. Maybe it's an island in his mind. What is this?
What charnel house lies at the foot of this abyss? How many dead shepherds could fill this hole?
I wonder what happens if I jump into this hole. I'm going to do it! I think I died.
Come back.
Yep. Okay, so I'm back here. I'm at the other side of the hole now. Is that a house? I think it's a house. I will go towards this house.
I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The setting sun was an inflamed eye squeezing shut against the light shone in by the doctors. My neck is aching through constantly craning my head up to track the light of the aerial. I must look downwards, follow the path under the island to a new beginning.
Weird. Now, what if... Whoa, freaky. Some kind of surgical tools and syringes. Fun. Okay, so... freaky music. What if this guy is in a coma? He was talking about having kidney stones, being under anesthesia, and his last narration was talking about the sun being like an inflamed eye closing shut against the doctor's light. So what if he's in a coma or a surgery, and this is all just...
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jacobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
Okay. So that kind of continues to blur the line of whether this is happening in this guy's mind, or if this is a real place. I'm gonna keep going with this is happening in this guy's mind and he's coming up with histories for the island. But that feels like kind of just very like, oh yeah, it's totally just in his head or whatever. Luminous paint. Another squiddish looking thing.
When the oil lamps ran out, I didn't pick up a torch, but used the moonlight to read by. When I've pulled the last shreds of sense from it, I will throw Donnelly's book from the cliffs and perhaps myself with it. Maybe it will wash back up through the caves and erupt from the spring when the rain comes, making its return to the hermit's cave. Perhaps it will be back on the table when I wake. I think I may have thrown it into the sea several times before.
These must be the books. I can't really make out anything that these papers say. But there's a whole lot of really big books. And like eggshells, which is kind of gross. Ooh, an ultrasound. That's intriguing. Interesting. A trunk. Looks like he was... That sounded like hospital noise. I actually had to pull my headset away just to make sure that like my fire alarm in my house wasn't going on. But that was interesting. Let's see. Looks like he's been burning books. Interesting, interesting. There's a cave. There's a light in it. I will go towards this light. That seems like the natural conclusion to come to, but how do I get to it? Is that a person? Oh my god, there's a person! Or a ghost. Oh my god, you guys. Freaky, how do I get to them? Ah! This fence is in my way. Do we go this way? I feel like I'm supposed to go this way. That sucks. I want to go look at the person. That's pretty scary. I don't really like horror games, so I hope that I don't get scared.
He left his body to the medical school and was duly opened out for a crowd of students 21 days after his passing. The report is included in my edition of his book. The syphilis had torn through his guts like a drunk driver, scrambling his organs like eggs on a plate. But enough definition remained for a cursory examination, and, as I suspected, they found clear evidence of kidney stones. He's likely to have spent the last years of his life in considerable pain. Perhaps this is the root of his laudanum habit. Although its use makes him an unreliable witness, I find myself increasingly drawn into his orbit.
Okay. So that's interesting. We see some themes and ideas and incidents reoccurring. Kidney stones, drunk driving, galaxies, space type stuff like the orbiting and galaxies. I'm not really sure what kidney stones have to do with drunk driving or being drunk. I don't really drink. I do like Bloody Marys though, but I don't know much about, alcohol poisoning and all that. But things to keep in mind. I'm not sure what they mean yet. I'm not sure who's talking about. Maybe Donnelly? Maybe not. Donnelly sounds like, based on the Shepherd excerpt earlier, sounds like maybe that was more...
They found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. All around him small flowers were reaching for the weak sun. The goats had adjusted happily to life without a shepherd and were grazing freely about the valley. Donnelly reports they hurled the body in fear and disgust down the shaft, but I cannot corroborate this story.
Okay, more information about Jakobsen the shepherd. Interesting. But who is this person that is also on the island? I want to know. Here's more remains of a shipwreck, though this one's obviously much, much older. Alright, there's a cave there, I think. Maybe just a hollow. I'm gonna go look at...
Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and have injured my leg. I think the femur is broken. It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
Okay. Yes. That explains them. Maybe explains the surgical tools we found up there. Some weird noises. People-ish noises. Not gonna lie, it freaks me out. Not a super big fan. What is this? Is this a trunk? Oh my god. Clothes. Books. Hebridean history. Okay. I guess I'll go back this way. And into the cave. Cave. Looks like there's light in the cave, which is pretty freaky, not gonna lie. Okay, I don't know if it's the graphics or like what, but there's some kind of teal shining on these rocks. Oh, look, a candle. Okay, candle. Okay, this is pretty weird. Goes down into this hole. That's pretty freaky. There's like a glowy precipice. Oh, I think that's supposed to be sunlight. Not as creepy. I'm gonna fall! Oh my god.